joint?
No,
is it a rib place?
It is. They smoke. It's a barbecue joint.
Oh my God.
We got 100 girls on the main stage at Smoky Bones.
No, they have delicious barbecue.
Okay.
Let me tell you.
We got an idea here.
We did hospitality night. And so we were the only bar restaurant in the area that was open until 2, which is when bars close in Ohio normally.
Yeah.
And
normally.
yeah. And so all the other restaurants would close at 10:30, 11. So we'd get a huge flux of all of their staff members coming in. And that's an interesting dynamic too. But that if you were trying to pick somebody up that you didn't work in the hospitality industry, you should stay until 2 and pick them up that way.
Del Frisco's. You guys have a Del Frisco's around here? No. It's a high-end steakhouse, and for those of you who don't listen. And part of their thing, they used to, because it was mostly businessmen would come in, they would ask for your card, and then the waitstaff would hand write like a thank you note to you, which is a smart move. But I'm like, she sent me a thank you note. Like, I didn't know it was a thing. Like, I got a card in the mail from my waitstaff, and I'm like, no, that was sort of their corporate policy or whatever. So if I see
Big
this
man
person
on
at the after hours bar, I shouldn't wave a copy of like my receipt. Like, hey,
Remember
Emily?
$50?
Right.
Right.
The guy with the medium rare. Remember? Medium rare.
I tipped you $200 on $100.
You remember?
Onion rings. Me?
Wink.
Yeah.
Hey.
I know.
No, just try to pick up a conversation, not weirdly.
How was work tonight?
Yeah, that would be fine.
Is it, I think you have to respect the job.
Absolutely.
Of everybody, no matter what
Acknowledge
anybody
the job,
does.
Otherwise, you're creepy.
Yeah, acknowledge that, it was hard. You did notice and appreciate how great their service was and that they were nice to you, because that is part of, no matter what is going on in anybody's life at their job, if they are sort of front facing with a smile and trying to be, who knows what's going on, and you got to appreciate that.
Yeah, I think that's a good conversation
Yeah,
starter,
but
right?
bartender can get away with being kind of a dick.
Yes.
They can. Why? It's just the power. I control the liquor.
I kind of feel like people like that. That
Yeah, I
sounds
do
really
too.
weird. But
I think you're right. There is a part of it's
into
like
the
You like
yeah.
the bitch bartender better than the nice girl.
That's why I was.
I always liked the bartender who was drinking while they were working. I always liked
the
that.
best.
Yeah, I know, like that they had like a little scotch, and I'm like, we're the same here.
Yeah, right. Like people. Like you're
I don't want a
people.
sober bartender.
No, and that's the thing. Like, if you own a restaurant and you have a policy that your bartender can't drink, ditch that policy, because you want your bartender hanging out with the staff
agree.
or with the customers. You want them,
Coyote Ugly.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, the more that they are comfortable in interacting and talking, the better off everybody's night's going to be. And that's the kind of bartender everybody wants.
Did you? You worked in places that required uniforms, and then you worked at places that said you can wear anything you want. Which did you prefer?
I like a uniform
Because you don't have to think about
As a
it.
bartender?
Absolutely. Well, I never bartended though.
Yeah, there was sometimes places that the bartender didn't have to do, like where the wait staff did.
Bartender could do whatever
That
they
also
wanted.
had a little separation.
There's the power
too.
again.
Yeah.
Because, it's sort of like school uniforms for kids. Some kids are like, I don't want to have to think about it. And the parents are like, here's your uniform. And some are like, sort of like casual Friday at a real serious workplace. You're like, I have to show what I really would wear now.
Yeah. Yeah, right? Maybe I actually have to think
but
about
you
it and
also
get
could
dressed.
work the outfit to make more money. Like, it is sort of a hustle, and it is built on charm and sex appeal and all these kind of things. And, you're selling food, but you're dangling something.
Yeah, food's like
Choice
the
of words.
side. And the side. I really, truly believe that people that go to sit at a bar aren't there for the meal.
They're there for the experience.
It's more of the conversation and experience, whether it's to pick somebody up or not. I mean, even if you're out there like with your boyfriend or girlfriend, you sit at the bar.
Yeah.
You want conversation with other people.
And you do have to be a bit of a therapist, and you do have to listen to the stuff. And you
Wear
do
lots of hats.
You do. And so the bartender, has to engage a little bit more in conversation, which is probably brutal when, you're not really there for that. But when it's busy and you're 4 deep, obviously you're not dealing with that. But if it's just like somebody sitting at the bar and they're telling you about your day.
That's when you're like a bottle of wine in before your shift's over. And you're just kind of nodding along and going along with
Drying
it.
the
You're
glasses.
Like, trying to get this person out of here. You can bring a server into your conversation. And
how annoyed would you get as either a server or a bartender about somebody who wanted something ridiculous, like a stupid drink? Where you ever like, I'm not making you a vodka and Diet Coke. I'm just not making you that.
Ew.
Right. Like, that's not a drink. Or somebody who, or you're just like, it doesn't matter. A drink's a drink and I'll make whatever.
It's the people that would ask for like over the top stuff that we wouldn't do. Like special, you know how I like it sort of thing. I feel like
that's weird.
You know how I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. If I said that, it would have been really weird.
Listen,
for sure.
There was a regular that would come in there and he would call all of the bartenders boo-boo. And he would tell you, you know how I like a boo-boo when you would pour his drink. And I still to this day remember him. And I still, if I see him at the grocery store, I'm still like, there he is.
There's boo-boo.
There's boo-boo.
Yes.
Oh, no.
But those are the kind that you're like, I'm going to make it wrong.
Yeah. I don't care about this person's tip. I don't want to. Yeah.
It's
Sorry,
fun, though,
boo-boo.
to make fun of the people that order like a vodka and Diet Coke.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
Like, what should I get? Or if somebody asks you, what's good or what should I get? Or how quick were you to cut people off?
I've never.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever.
See, what Uber has done, less people drive now, or should. You shouldn't drive now.
Sure.
People do get drunker, and couples go out more because they don't have, not one of them have to drive. So couples go out, they will split a bottle of wine, which has been really good. It has transformed the restaurant business in Los Angeles more than any other place. Uber has changed everything because it used to be a work lunch town and the night scene because you either had to go drive and valet, which was too expensive for parking, or somebody. Uber changed everything, and it enabled, couples to go out and people to go out and all that. So the restaurant scene in Los Angeles is booming.
Well, it was.
It was. Not anymore. Yeah, I try and live in a world of where it didn't. But I do want to get into that for a second. You got married in the height of
I sure did.
Quarantine 2020.
Oh boy!
What changed the most, if anything, about the plan you had in your head and the plan that ultimately happened?
Honestly, what changed the most is the people that came.
Did you cut it down, or some people just like, I'm not going to a wedding now?
A lot of people were like, yeah, I can't come. Like they didn't want to risk it. I mean, there were some people who weren't comfortable with, like, my grandma was going to be there or like whatever, and they would have felt bad if they were the ones. Yeah. So, I mean, my wedding went on and it was the same. There was obviously people missing and obviously things that we tweaked. Like, for example, our photo booth, we weren't allowed to have like props that were reusable. Yeah. So I bought like paper props that people could hold up with a stick and then we threw them away. So it was just like,
well, good for you, because the cater. I don't know if you've ever catered, but that business took a huge hit last year. Yeah. The special events and the 100%. Fundraisers and the weddings and all that kind of stuff. It's gone. So did you consider postponing it, or you're just like, let's do this?
We went back and forth a lot.
Yeah.
We actually had sent out a pre-RSVP, or I'm sorry, a re-RSVP, where people who had said they were going to come 2 weeks prior to the wedding, we sent them another text message, and I said, hey, are you really going to come? Because if you're not, I don't want to pay for this whole wedding if you're not going to show up on the day. Because that would suck.
Did you hop behind the bar and start mixing drinks?
I did not.
Out of habit? Is it like having a singer at a wedding and they got to sing a few songs?
No. I did not feel the need to. We did have a signature drink, though.
You did?
We did. Something blue is what it was called.
Yeah.
Most people didn't like it. I like anything blue is tasty to me.
Emily?
Is it? See, yes. I was going to ask that 5 minutes ago. I go, if somebody, that was the example of the vodka and Diet Coke. If somebody orders something blue, are you like, oh my God.
That's
like
my
a blue
drink.
Hawaiian?
Yeah.
She likes all that sweet sugary.
Mm-hmm.
You do. You're the one with
I'm the one
with the Mai Tai, the big straws, and walking around with a huge thing.
That's her thing. 100%.
Huh. What have you ever worked in like a brewery, like a craft beer place where it's like mostly dudes? Because it's a different environment from working in like a wine bar where it's mostly women, and it's like, again, no stereotypes, but we're in the great love debate, so we generalize all the time around here. But that is a different vibe.
It is. So I served at a place called Mellow Mushroom in Columbus, and all the bartenders were men because they were known for their craft beer. And they had like 60 different beers on tap, and they had to know the beer list, and the management, even ownership, was like, well, girls just don't drink beer, so no one's going to listen to your recommendation. So that's why. Did
you ever have to deal with the rep, this beer rep or the vodka rep who come around and try and get you to try and stock something?
A couple times, yes.
You're like,
yeah.
Because that also matters too. In California, you're very limited on what you can give away. If you're like let's tequila night and the pretty girls come around and they give shots away. You can't give away anything that's worth more than like 30 cents. So you get like a crappy keychain. In some places you get hats and T-shirts and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, you can't do that in Los Angeles.
Huh.
Terrible. See, you didn't know this, did you?
I didn't. No, I've never even been to Los Angeles.
No.
So, what do you think that people would be surprised at as far as the dating universe that goes on in a bar or restaurant? Is there something that you're like, you know what, that people break up and get over it quicker?
No.
They don't.
They always get back together.
Oh, they do.
Always.
It's always it's always fluctuating.
And what's the first way to tell if the bartender and the server are sleeping together? What's the tell? She lingers a little longer at the service bar.
I mean,
I don't know. There's just
because when you watch it on Vanderpump Rules, it's clear, but they edit it.
It is, but there is that like flirtation.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's always a flirtation though between everybody
but
in the
it's
restaurant.
heightened.
And yes,
remember,
that's what I was going to say.
Like, think back to like when I was serving and you were making dough, and all the drivers.
Yeah,
and
everybody just hit on everybody.
Wait, so how do you tell the ones who actually got over the...
Because the
it
story
gets
comes
gross.
out.
Oh, it does?
It absolutely comes out.
Did those two come together?
Especially if they're just hooking up, it's everybody knows within, because you all hang out after work too.
And you know whose car was left there after?
Yes, and like
Walk of
half
shame?
of us, I mean, we're partying together after work. You come back into work and you're like, oh, everybody's looking at you because they know what you did.
They know what happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the time, the people are like wasted. So they're like, nobody knows. But we saw.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
People don't.
It's the talk them for like the next week until something else crazy happens.
Yeah.
Is two staff workers making out in the cooler a fireable offense at most places, or is just that's business as usual?
No.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
No.
It's fine. Hey, table 14 is waiting for you guys.
All right, I'll be there in a sec. 1 minute.
Wow, I could go on about this all day. But in the interest of time, this is both of your guys' first time on the Great Love Debate podcast. Yes. We play something called Worst Date or First Date, which means you're going to have to give us either the absolute greatest first date you've ever went on, I don't care what happened to the relationship, or the absolute worst date you've ever go on. It's your choice. Nicole, you go first.
My absolute... Oh, and you guess.
No, it's up to you.
Oh, I can
you
tell.
go on. You tell us either your greatest date ever. It doesn't have to be your husband, or the worst date you've ever been on. Doesn't have to be your husband. Just some horror story or some good one.
I don't even know. You go first, because
Okay.
You have a ton.
I'm
Ellie's
actually
confident.
just going to
You have a ton. They always say that about
Thank
somebody
you.
else. A ton of good ones or bad ones. She dated a lot.
I'm actually going to tell.
I didn't date that much, so I
Oh,
don't.
yeah, you got married at 20.
I got married at 25.
Oh, 25. You met him at 20.
I met him when I was 20.
We'll think about your prom, and we'll get back to you in a second.
I mean,
All right. Worst date or first date, Emily? Your choice.
I think I'm actually going to tell the story of my first date with my husband, actually. 'cause
Okay.
It was bad. Let's talk about that. So, I mean, so a group of us all got together. We were going to go to the movies. Hunger Games. Great movie. Great times. So we all got together. And at this point, I didn't know that my husband, his name's Mark. I didn't know that Mark liked me. Mm-hmm. No idea. Right over my head. So we get to the movies, and I had bought the tickets, and I was like, okay, everybody owes me $10. Like, we're good to go. And Mark hands me a 20. And I was like, all right, yeah, let me get you some change. He was like, no, don't worry about it. And I was like, okay, that's weird. Like, I was like, why, dude? Here.
Should have given you 100.
Yeah, right. And
I only got hundreds.
So we walk into the theater, and he's like, so do you want any popcorn or, like, candy or anything? And I was like, no, I'm fine. Like, I just ate. We're good. And he's like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, leave me alone. Like, I was like, come on. So then we get in the movie theater, and I pick the row, and I go all the way to the end, and I thought everybody was going to follow me because we were, like, with a bunch of couples.
Uh-huh.
And we were just in our same row. Like, Mark followed me, and we sat down, and my friends sat in the row in front of us. And I was like, why are they sitting? Oh, I guess we're sitting up here. And he was like, no, just sit down. And I was like, what? So everybody else was in on it. I had no idea. We watched the movie. And then I got to work the next day, and I said to somebody, I was like, I think I went on a date with Mark last night. And she was like, what do you mean you think? And then from then on, I was like, yeah, I guess he likes me. So now we're married. But
well, the odds were forever in his favor.
Yes.
That's
I'll
a
start it with the Hunger Games.
That's a smooth move.
Oh, yeah.
I like that.
So smooth.
Keep the change.
Yeah.
Good job, Mark.
God.
Happily ever after.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
All right.
What a great
you had a
date.
few seconds to think about your swinging single
I did my swinging single days. So probably the worst date I ever went on was actually a guy who worked at Zeppi's.